A desktop speaker system with a source for less than $275, almost $250, can't be done, Randy. Oh, yes, it can. So sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's put together a desktop system for cheap. Most people getting into this hobby don't have a ton of money. And that first system, a lot of times, for young folks or even for older folks, such as myself, is a desktop system. Why? Because we spend a lot of time sitting at our desk doing mindless work for corporations. But that's okay, because we get paid for it. Therefore, we can buy food or occasionally buy tires for your car. However, since you're strapped to that chair like someone going through enhanced interrogation techniques, maybe you should enjoy it a little bit. That's where a desktop music system comes in, because you can pipe those sweet tunes into your ear holes and forget about the terrible work that you're doing and try to get just a tiny bit of happiness while you're working. With most people starting on their desk and not having a lot of money, they would think that they don't have a ton of options. However, it couldn't be further from the truth. Well, it's just recently gotten better. Let's talk about the amp. This is my amp of choice for this one. Actually, there's two amps, but this one is my amp of choice. Funny thing, this one has a little bit of a backstory. The first time I got this, which is the Fozzy Audio TB10D, I didn't like it. I didn't think it sounded very good. And I was hopeful because it has the 3255 amp chipset from our friends over at Texas Instruments. And their amp chipsets sound good. Most Class D, most affordable Class D, sound like a goose in mating season. A goose. It doesn't sound good. When you think of nice sounds, pleasant things to listen to, a goose in mating season is probably not one of them. That's what Class D amplifiers used to sound like. Chocks on a nail board, screeching tires, busting glass, things like that. Well, when Texas Instruments started being used for a few of these amps, oh my goodness, Class D started sounding good. It didn't sound like a large bird searching for a mate. It sounded like music. This is $60. $60. And you can upgrade the power supply. The one that comes with it, though, is great. And it is going to drive most, probably 98% of the speakers that you'd want to drive in a desktop situation. Heck, it'll probably drive 99% of the speakers that one would want to drive in a desktop situation. But if you ever want more juice, can buy an upgraded power supply. At that point, though, you're getting outside, and this video is about value. It's about cheapness. So, long term, though, you can upgrade this. Also comes with tone controller roonies. So you got bass and treble, which I think when you're first starting out, one should consider something that has tone controls. When you're working with less than $300, chances are that system synergy is not going to be, well, easy. So you're going to have to take what you get and work within that limit, budget limit. That's why tone controls are a good option. No Bluetooth, no remote control. You don't need it because it's going to be right there so you can reach out and touch it. Reach out and touch someone for your stereo. Anyway, this is my first option. $60. $60. Let that sink in for a second. $60. And I think this thing is putting out 50 clean watts, maybe into 4, maybe even more. I'll flash the specs up, but you have to realize that the amp chipset in this thing, sometimes they put it up in lights that this thing will do like 300 watts. And it won't, because the power supply that is included just doesn't have the gumption to get that high. But again, the power that you're going to get from the stock power supply that comes with it is plenty. You can upgrade it all the way up to 48 volt. The other option, again, another 3255 amp chipset, is the IEMA A07. That one you can roll the op amps, but no tone controls. So I would steer most people to the TP10D from Fozzy Audio. Let's talk about the speaker. These are on sale for $123. Yay! These are the Sony SSCS5, one of my favorite speaker. Oh yeah, that sounds so good. You can tell how good a speaker is when you do this. 123 bucks. I literally just about dropped it because I have the upgraded crossover from Neil Blanchard Designs, which I'll link in the description. Anyway, and it has a big X on it so that I know that this is the one that I changed the crossover out in. Anyway, Neil Blanchard Design has a crossover upgrade for this. Do you have to do it? No, absolutely not. I think these things sound great just as they are. You sound great just as you are. You're good enough. You don't need to be upgraded, but you can upgrade it if you'd like to. $123. These sometimes go down to about 80 or 90 bucks. A couple times a year. But the $123 price point is kind of their mid-tier sale and is kind of their lowest sale for the most amount of time. So $123 for these beauties is fine. It's fine. This is worth $200. Okay? That's about it though. Over 200? No. On the back you have a port binding post. These are 6-ohm speakers. These are a little bit easier to drive than the other speaker that we're going to talk about. Okay? 3-way, but it's really a 2.5-way. You have a tweeter and a super tweeter, and then a really good woofer. And the clarity on the bass is really good. This is a really remarkable speaker. So at $120 plus $60, you're at $183 for this whole system, which is bananas. And with this amp, it sounds very natural. With the A07, it sounds very natural. With these, you're getting a little bit of excitement, a little bit of air, a little bit of extension on top. That's why I like these so much. The other option, and I put them back in a box, so I'm not going to show them to you, is the ELAC BS41. It is a smaller speaker, smaller in sound. Oh, by the way, these are pretty good size too, because you can put them on your desk, stack them up on top of some of your old science fiction books or something like that. Get them, you don't even need these at ear level too, because they have a little bit of spice on top. So you can get your ear a little bit above it. And since there's vertical off-axis losses, it's actually going to sound perfect. Heck, you may be able to just anyway. You can get little things that you can put these on for $5-10, or you can bust out some of the old paperbacks and build a speaker pedestal out of Superman 3, which incidentally, I have the paperback novelization of Superman 3. Anyway, Superman's carrying off a comedian into the cosmos on the cover of Superman 3. I'll throw up a picture of it. You can still get that from Amazon. I think it's out of print though. Anyway, if you had a bunch of copies of that, you could put your speaker on top of it. But I digress. Back to the ELAC BS41. Smaller speaker, so you're going to have to put more copies of Superman 3 to get it up to the correct height. And that one, you do want to get ear level with the tweeter, because that one is not as spicy on top as the Sony SSCS5. It's a little bit more relaxed. So if you like excitement, the Sony may be the one for you. However, since you have the TB10D from Fozzy Audio, what you can do is you get the old excitement meter right here. Just turn that up. Turn that frown upside down and put a little spice in your ear with tone controls. Man, this video is getting wildly out of hand. BS41 is coming in right around $145. Sometimes when Amazon makes a mistake, they sell those for as low as $65. I've seen it happen once. I jumped on and I got a pair. Over the holidays, I think they had some crazy deal again. But it is a legitimate $145 speaker. So $145 plus $60, I'm no mathematician. I think that's $205 before taxes. We still need a source though. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. I do this for a living. It would mean the world to me if you thumbed up this video and subscribed. You can always take it back later. Thank you for watching this video. What is a source? A source is what takes the music and puts it into your amplifier to be amplified. Okay? So a source, since we're on the desk, is going to be revolving around the digital music domain. Why? Because you have probably one of the best streamers out there already. It's called your computer. And you can take a USB output, or if you have an optical motherboard output sound card type of thing, I don't know computer speak, if you have one of those, you can optical out of the computer as well. But most people have USBs, so they can USB into their DAC. It's a digital to analog converter. And today's DAC that we're going to talk about is the FX Audio DAC X6 Mini Hi-Fi 2.0 digital audio decoder. Okay, not only is this a DAC, but it also has a headphone amplifier. So this whole set is going to be able to run some headphones as well. It's not the beefiest of all headphone amplifiers. However, it puts out a half a watt at 32 ohms. Well, around 480 milliwatts at 32 ohms, which is still pretty good. And I think somehow you can roll the op amps on this thing. I'm looking at the product description. I never did this when I had this product because I thought it sounded fine. When you roll, that just means change. So there is a 8-pin receiver that is soldered into the actual board. So you can just pop out the op amp and then pop in another one. Just like the TB10D can be upgraded with another power supply, FX Audio DAC-X6 Mini Hi-Fi 2.0 can be op amp rolled, so you can upgrade it. So, okay, that's not even the most important thing. The most important thing is it's a DAC. So it is going to clean up the signal. Now, one can, if you have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack out of your computer, one could take a 3.5 millimeter 2 RCA right into your amplifier and then into your speakers. However, generally speaking, you don't get the best sound quality because the DAC that's included in your computer, unless it's a gaming computer with a really good sound card, doesn't have a very good DAC in it to begin with. That's why most people, one of the first things they do is they upgrade to an external DAC. And this is an external DAC, but it also has a headphone amp. So you're getting two things for the price of one. Not only that, you're really getting two things for the price of half because it's only $65. And it's a decent sounding product. So now we have $60 plus $65. That's $125 plus $123. Now that's $225, $250. So that's $250 for a headphone amp, a speaker amp, and a DAC. Now you're gonna have to buy cables if you don't have any cables, but what you could also do is just grab some old lamps that you don't use anymore and get out the scissors and make some your own speaker cables out of lamp cord. That's what people used to do, but I don't know. You can probably get better wire for around $10 on the Amazon. We also didn't talk about Bluetooth because I don't think you need to talk about Bluetooth when you're in a desktop situation because almost everybody is going to have either a phone, more importantly though, a computer. So the chances that one's going to use Bluetooth are not very high. If you want to build another small system in another room, there's other products out there that have Bluetooth. I'm not talking about that today. I'm talking about the oasis that is our desk during our hard-working hours. So to summarize, if you want excitement, a little bit more clarity, a little bit more air, I would go with the Sonys. If you want a little bit more oomph on the bottom, maybe a little bit more romantic sound, a little bit more caramelly, then I'd look at the ELAC BS41. You can't really go wrong with either of the amps, but I like the Fuzzy Audio because it has tone controls. You can also upgrade the power supply to get more juice out of it. You can do the same thing on the A07, and you can upgrade the op amps on the A07. You can also upgrade the op amps on the FX Audio DAC-X6. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you'd like to support the channel, you can sign up for Patreon. Patreon.com/CheapAudioman. Every Sunday night, we have patron-only Zooms, patron-only Discord, patron-only Facebook group. You can also use the thanks button down at the bottom of the video. Next to the share button, there's a thanks button. You can buy me a cup of coffee. Speaking of coffee mugs, you can buy a coffee mug from me. It has binge listen and fill your soul with happiness on the back, and Rocktopus on the front. You can also sign up for Amazon Music, Rune, or Tidal. Links in the description. Even if you quit after a trial period, I still get a couple of dollars. So don't binge watch anything on Netflix or Hulu. Grab yourself a nice desktop cheap system and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.